In Lagos, two hearts hid a secret crush, Amaka and Toby. They laughed, shared moments, yet never spoke of the feelings between them. Until one rainy evening, in a warm, modern home, a single kiss changed everything. The sun was already dipping behind the rooftops of Surulere, casting a golden hue on the bustling neighborhood. Inside the Okafor residence, the air smelled faintly of jollof rice from the kitchen and fresh polish from the marble floors. The sitting room glowed with elegance: cream leather sofas, ochre-patterned cushions, and a framed painting of Lagos Island at dusk. Amaka sat cross-legged on the sofa, her braids tied up in a bun, a textbook spread open before her. She was 20, still in university, with the bright eagerness of youth in her eyes. But if she was being honest, the page she had been staring at for 10 minutes had nothing to do with her distraction. It was him, Toby. He had returned from Abuja only a few weeks ago, a 26-year-old family friend whose presence always stirred something in her chest. He wasn't dressed extravagantly, just a clean white shirt tucked into dark jeans, but somehow he carried himself with quiet confidence. When he laughed, it filled the room, and when he spoke, his deep voice lingered in her thoughts long after. Amaka lowered her gaze quickly when she noticed him looking at her. But a smile tugged at her lips anyway. "You've been reading that same page for almost an hour," Toby teased, leaning against the doorway. Her cheeks warmed. "I'm studying," she replied, closing the textbook with more force than necessary. "Studying what?" "How to pretend." His grin was playful, mischievous. She laughed despite herself, hugging the book to her chest. "You talk too much, Toby. And you blush too easily," he said, moving closer and sinking into the sofa opposite her. He stretched out his long legs, making himself comfortable as if he owned the place. Their eyes met briefly. The moment stretched longer than it should have. Amaka quickly reached for the remote and switched on the TV, breaking the silence. A Nollywood drama was playing, the sound of rain and thunder from the movie oddly echoing the cloudy skies outside their window. Toby watched her for a moment, his gaze soft. She wasn't the little girl he used to know. She was becoming a woman, graceful, sharp-tongued, yet shy in ways that made his chest ache. He had promised himself he wouldn't look at her that way, but sometimes promises were hard to keep. Amaka shifted uncomfortably, sensing the weight of his gaze. She tucked a strand of braid behind her ear, trying to appear casual. "Why are you staring?" He chuckled. "Can I look?" "No," she said quickly, then caught herself and laughed. "At least not like that." Their laughter filled the room, but beneath it, something unspoken hummed between them, a current neither wanted to admit. Outside, the sky rumbled with the promise of rain. Inside, two hearts kept stealing glances, pretending nothing lingered in the air, when in truth, everything did. The next morning, the Lagos sun pushed its way through the sheer curtains of Amaka's room, spilling light across the pastel-painted walls. She stretched lazily on her bed, her mind still replaying Toby's smile from the night before. Her phone buzzed. It was her best friend, Ngozi, already waiting outside the university campus gate. By mid-morning, the two girls sat beneath a tree near the Faculty of Arts, sipping zobo from clear plastic cups. Students hurried around them, some laughing, some rushing for lectures, but Amaka wasn't paying attention. She was lost in thought, twirling her straw in the drink. Ngozi eyed her suspiciously. "You've been smiling to yourself since I came." "Spill it, Amaka." "What's going on?" Amaka's cheeks warmed. "Nothing. I was just thinking." "About Toby, ABI?" Ngozi smirked knowingly. Amaka gasped. "Ngozi! Don't Ngozi me," she teased, leaning closer. "Every time you talk about him, your eyes shine. Tell me, do you like him?" Amaka sighed, pressing the cup against her lips. "I don't just like him. One, I think Ive been crushing on him for a long time. But he's older, and he probably sees me as a little girl." Ngozi tilted her head. That one is tricky. But sometimes older guys notice more than you think. Did he ever give you signs?" Amaka thought back to the way he stared at her last night, the teasing, the soft chuckle when she blushed. Her heart fluttered. "Maybe," she whispered. Ngozi grinned. "See your life. If he makes a move, you won't resist." Amaka buried her face in her palms. "Ngozi, beg." Meanwhile, across town, Toby sat in a small restaurant with his cousin, Kunnel, eating plates of umla and yudu. The restaurant was buzzing with conversations and the aroma of pepper soup drifting from the kitchen. Kunnel noticed how distracted Toby was. "Guy, you day somewhere else? What's up?" Toby chuckled, shaking his head. "It's nothing." "Nothing? Since when do you smile at your phone for no reason?" Kunnel leaned forward. "Is it that Amaka girl again?" Toby froze for a second before exhaling deeply. "This different, Kunnel. I don't even know how to explain it. She makes me feel," he paused, searching for the right words, "like I want to stay longer in any room she's in." Kunnel raised an eyebrow. "Oh no, that's serious. Oh, but wait. She's what, 20? You're 26. People might talk." "I know," Toby admitted, swirling his spoon in the yudu. "That's what's holding me back. But I can't keep pretending I don't feel it." Kunnel studied him for a moment. "Then you have to be sure, Toby. Don't play with her heart. If you make a move, make it with clear intentions." Toby nodded slowly, his jaw tightening. "I know. And if the moment comes, I won't let it pass." By evening, the rain clouds were already gathering again over Lagos. Amaka stood by her window, watching as drops began to fall against the glass. Somewhere deep inside, she wondered if the storm was preparing her for something she had long been waiting for. And Toby, in his apartment, sat on his couch, staring out at the same storm, his heart restless with a decision he knew he would soon make. Unspoken feelings were no longer content to remain silent. The clouds gathered heavily over Lagos, the kind that turned the city sky into a dark canvas by late afternoon. Thunder rolled in the distance, and before long, the heavens opened. Rain began to pour, washing over rooftops, streets, and the tin sheds of the neighborhood kiosks. Inside the Okafor residence, the sound of the storm softened by glass windows and heavy drapes, warmth filled the air. The living room glowed from a chandelier, its golden light reflecting off polished marble floors. The cream-colored sofas were scattered with bold ochre print cushions, and a large framed photograph of Lagos Marina at night hung above the flat-screen TV. Amaka was curled up on the sofa in a fluffy blanket, scrolling through movies. The steady drumming of rain against the windows made her heart strangely restless. She kept glancing toward the door, waiting. Then came the sound she anticipated, the gate creaking open, followed by footsteps on the tiled veranda. Toby. He stepped inside, brushing rain off his white shirt, which clung slightly to his shoulders. His jeans were damp around the edges, and the faint smell of rain clung to him. He shook his head with a small laugh. "Lagos rainin'. It won't let somebody rest." Amaka smiled from where she sat. "Saturday, you should have stayed home. Now you're wet." "Stay home? And miss movie night with you?" He grinned, slipping off his sneakers by the door. "Never." Her heart skipped. She tried to act casual, adjusting the blanket. "I picked a film already. Hope you're ready." Minutes later, they were side by side on the sofa, the storm outside muffling the world beyond. The movie played, but their focus drifted. Occasionally, their arms brushed. Once, her hand accidentally rested near his, and the electricity of the moment lingered. Toby leaned back, watching the screen but also stealing glances at her. The soft glow of the chandelier lit her face in warm tones, her lashes catching shadows, her lips slightly parted in concentration. Amaka caught him looking once. "Why you staring again?" she asked, her voice low but playful. He chuckled, shifting closer. "Because you make it difficult not to." Her breath caught, but she forced a smile. "You talk too much, Toby." Silence stretched between them, filled only by the rain and the faint dialogue from the TV. Toby's heart raced. He had thought of this moment for weeks, maybe months. And now, the storm outside seemed to urge him on, as if the world had been waiting for him to move. Slowly, carefully, he reached for her hand. She froze but didn't pull away. Their eyes locked, hers wide with surprise, his steady with intent. And then it happened. Toby leaned in and pressed his lips against hers. Soft at first, unsure, tasting of courage and fear. Amaka's heart hammered in her chest. For a second, she couldn't breathe. But then, she kissed him back. Eagerly. Desperately. When they finally pulled apart, Breathless, she whispered, voice trembling but clear. "I've been waiting for this moment." Thunder cracked outside, the storm surging as if to seal their confession. Toby's lips curved into a smile, and he kissed her again, this time deeper, hungrier. The world outside disappeared, leaving only the rain, the glow of the chandelier, and the undeniable truth that nothing would ever be the same again. The living room was no longer about the movie or the rain. It was about them. Their first kiss had broken the invisible wall that had kept their feelings buried for so long. Amaka pulled back slightly, her chest rising and falling as though she had just run a race. Her eyes searched his, wide and shining with emotions she had hidden for months. "I've been waiting for this moment," she whispered again, her voice trembling. Toby's hand cupped her cheek gently, his thumb brushing away a strand of braid that had fallen forward. "Me too," he admitted, his voice low and rough. "Longer than you know." The confession set something ablaze between them. He kissed her again, this time with no hesitation. His lips pressed against hers deeply, firmly, as though sealing a promise. She responded with equal intensity, her hands clutching his shirt as if afraid he might vanish. The storm outside grew heavier, rain hammering against the windows. The thunder felt like drums, keeping rhythm with the beating of their hearts. Toby's hands slid around her waist, pulling her closer on the sofa. The blanket slipped to the floor, forgotten. Amaka's body trembled, not out of fear, but anticipation. Their kisses became longer, hungrier, filled with every unspoken word they had never dared to say. When they paused to catch their breath, their foreheads rested together, the warmth of their closeness drowning out the chill of the rainy night. "Amaka," Toby murmured, his voice husky, "are you sure about this?" She looked into his eyes, unwavering. "I've never been more sure." That was all he needed. With careful strength, he lifted her into his arms. She gasped softly, but her arms circled his neck naturally, as though she belonged there. He carried her down the polished hallway, the soft glow of wall lamps casting golden light along the corridor. The hum of the rain followed them, whispering its approval. Her bedroom door opened, revealing a cozy space painted in soft pastel pink, with golden lamps on either side of the bed. The Ankara-patterned bedspread was neatly arranged, but in that moment, it became the canvas for a story neither of them would ever forget. Toby laid her gently on the bed, his lips never leaving hers. She pulled him closer, her hands exploring the contours of his shoulders, memorizing the reality of him. Their kisses deepened again, each one more urgent than the last. The world outside ceased to exist. The storm, the house, the city, everything fell silent compared to the symphony of two hearts finally finding each other. That night, under the glow of warm lamps and the echo of rain against the window, Toby unlocked what Amaka had kept safe until now, her innocence, her first surrender. And it was not rushed, not careless. It was tender, reverent, filled with love. For both of them, the kiss had changed everything. And from that moment, there was no turning back. The storm had passed. The steady roar of rain had softened into the quiet dripping of water from the rooftops outside. The early Lagos morning peeked through the pastel curtains of Amaka's room, painting everything in a soft golden hue. Amaka stirred first. She lay still for a moment, staring at the ceiling, her heart racing as memories of the night came flooding back. His hands, his kisses, the way he whispered her name like it was something sacred. She turned her head slightly. Toby was lying beside her, still asleep. His chest rose and fell steadily, his arm draped loosely around her waist. He looked different in sleep, softer, less guarded, almost boyish. For a long while, she simply watched him, torn between disbelief and wonder. Did this really happen? Did I just cross the line I've guarded all my life? As if sensing her thoughts, his eyes fluttered open. A lazy smile spread across his lips. "Good morning," he murmured, his voice husky. Her cheeks warmed instantly. "Good morning," she whispered back. He tightened his arm around her, pulling her closer. "You're real. I was afraid I dreamt it." Amaka bit her lip nervously. "Toby," she began, her voice hesitant, "what happened last night? Does it change us?" He pushed himself up slightly on one elbow, looking down at her. His gaze was steady, filled with something deeper than the playful teasing she was used to. Yes, it changes everything. But not in a bad way. Her fingers toyed with the edge of the blanket. I was scared. That maybe you'll regret it. That maybe you'll see me differently now. Amaka. He caught her chin gently, tilting her face toward his. I don't regret a single thing. Last night wasn't a mistake. To us. Something I've wanted for a long time. You're not just some crush to me. You're more. Her eyes softened and a small smile broke through. So you've been hiding it too? He chuckled, pressing a kiss to her forehead. For months. Every time you laughed, every time you looked away when I caught you staring. I knew. But I was waiting for the right moment. She leaned into him, her heart swelling. I thought I was the only one who felt it. He shook his head, pulling her into his chest. You were never alone in it. They stayed like that, wrapped in each other's warmth, as sunlight grew stronger in the room. Outside, Lagos slowly woke up, car horns in the distance, a hawker's cry, the neighborhood generator humming to life. But in that moment, none of it mattered. Amaka felt safe. And as Toby kissed her again, slow, unhurried, she knew that their story had only just begun. But what if people find out? She asked softly. My parents, our friends. Everyone will have opinions. Toby sat beside her, his arm around her shoulders. Then let them have opinions. We'll take it one step at a time. All I know is, I don't want to hide how I feel about you anymore. Her chest swelled at his certainty. She leaned her head against his shoulder, letting herself breathe in his scent, fresh soap mixed with rain. For a moment, they sat in silence, just listening to the sounds of the city outside. Then, with a playful grin, Toby nudged her. Besides, you think you'll survive if you keep pretending to only see me as your brother's friend? Beg, no to me like that. Amaka laughed, hitting him lightly on the chest. You're impossible. Impossible, but yours, he teased, kissing her temple. Her cheeks flushed, but her smile betrayed her. Later that morning, they ate breakfast together at the dining table, a simple spread of yam and fried eggs. The dining room was spacious, the glass-top table gleaming under the light of the chandelier. Toby sat across from her, his eyes lingering more on her than the food. At one point, Amaka caught him staring. Eat your food, Toby. He smirked. How can I eat when the person opposite me is finer than the food? She covered her face with her hands, laughing. Stop it. But deep inside, she felt something new, something steady, a love no longer hidden in stolen glances, but spoken, confessed, and lived. And though the world outside would soon begin to notice, in that moment at that table, they only had each other.